Have you ever seen an orchid quite like this? This is the Paphiopedilum, but you probably know it as the slipper orchid. And that incredible pouch, that slipper, is what makes it so famous. But here's the thing, it's not just for looks. Not even close. You see that beautiful slipper, it's technically called the labellum, isn't just a pretty petal. It's a highly advanced biological machine. Its one and only purpose? Reproduction. It is, quite literally, a trap. And a very, very clever one. Okay, so how does it actually work? How does this beautiful flower transform into one of nature's most sophisticated and effective traps? Well, let's break down the mechanics of this incredible evolutionary strategy. All right, let's deconstruct this trap. We're going to look at how this flower lures in its victims, captures them, and then ultimately uses these unsuspecting insects to do its bidding. The whole strategy is just a brilliant con. The orchid puts on this big show pretending to offer a meal or a safe place for a fly to lay its eggs, but it's a complete lie. For the pollinator, it's a total waste of time and energy. But for the orchid, it's the key to survival, all without having to produce any costly rewards like nectar. The whole process unfolds like a perfectly scripted three-act play. Act 1, attraction. Many of these species have these dark, bumpy spots on their petals that look exactly like a juicy cluster of aphids. This tricks female hoverflies, who think they've just found the perfect 5-star nursery for their larvae. Act 2. The insect lands on the rim of the pouch, ready to investigate. But surprise, it's a trapdoor. This slipping zone is incredibly waxy, and it's covered in these tiny, downward-pointing cells. It is absolutely impossible to get a grip. One false move, and whoop! It tumbles right inside. And finally, Act 3, the forced exit. Once it's trapped inside, the fly realizes there's only one way out, a tight, one-way tunnel. As it squeezes through, it first has to brush past the stigma, that's the female part, and it drops off any pollen it might be carrying from another orchid. Then, just before it escapes, it's forced under the anthers, the male parts, where a brand new, sticky packet of pollen gets glued right onto its back. It's an ingenious assembly line. But you know, that incredible flower, it's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. This is not your average everyday orchid you'd find at the grocery store, not by a long shot. So here's where slipper orchids really break the mold. You know how many orchids, like the ones you might have at home, have those swollen, thick stems at the base? Those are called pseudobulbs, and they're basically little water tanks for surviving dry spells. Well, slipper orchids? They don't have them. At all. This means their entire survival strategy is just different. While lots of orchids are epiphytes, growing up on trees with airy roots, slipper orchids are mostly semi-terrestrial. They live down on the forest floor. Their roots are fleshy and hairy, designed to pull moisture and nutrients right out of the soil and leaf litter. Without those pseudobulbs, they have to rely completely on their leaves and roots to hold on to water. And this one missing feature has massive consequences. Without that backup water supply, they simply cannot tolerate drying out, ever. This single evolutionary trait, the absence of a pseudobulb, dictates everything about their life. It determines exactly where they can live and how they have to survive. Okay, so now we get the plant itself. Let's go visit its home turf. We're talking about the misty mountains, the limestone cliffs, and the super humid forest floors of Southeast Asia. And what's really amazing is how specialized they've become. Different species have adapted to live at very specific altitudes. You've got species like P. philippinans down in the warm tropical lowlands, and then you go way, way up to the cool mountain slopes and find P. insigniae. Each one has carved out its own perfect little niche in the world. This incredible specialization has led to some of the most bizarre and stunningly beautiful flowers on Earth. But, as we're about to see, that human fascination with their beauty has created both celebrated icons and a deep, dark conservation crisis. So, meet the king. This is Paphiopedilum rothschildianum. It's native to Borneo, and it is the absolute stuff of legend among collectors. It's this massive, multifloral giant with these incredibly bold, striped flowers. Just majestic. And of course, where there's a king, there has to be a queen. This is Paphiopedilum sandarinum, and it is famous for one thing. It's absolutely jaw-droppingly long petals. So you gotta ask, right? What is the point of having petals that can grow almost 3 feet long? For over 100 years after it was discovered, botanists were stumped. Were they some kind of ladder for ants to climb up? What were they for? Well, the real answer turned out to be so much more elegant. Imagine you're a fly, deep in the shade of a dense forest. These long, twisting ribbons dance and sway in the slightest breeze. They're like moving visual beacons, perfectly designed to catch a pollinator's eye from a huge distance away. And the sheer diversity is just breathtaking. This one, discovered in China, is called the golden slipper. I mean, look at that brilliant, almost electric yellow. It's just another branch of this incredible family tree, perfectly adapted to its own little corner of the world. But unfortunately, this incredible beauty has become a terrible curse. The rarity, the uniqueness, the desire to own these plants has fueled a massive black market. It's led to rampant illegal poaching that has literally stripped entire populations from the wild, sometimes just a few years after they were first discovered. The situation got so bad, so completely out of control, that it required the highest level of international legal protection that a species can possibly get. And that protection is called CITES Appendix I. Being on this list means a species is at the most grave level of threat. It results in a complete, total ban on any international commercial trade of wild collected plants. It's essentially a last-ditch emergency brake, trying to save the entire genus from being loved to death. So after all of that, what's the big takeaway from this complex story of ingenious evolution and really fragile survival? Well, what we're left with is this: a plant whose beautiful flower is actually an intricate trap, whose entire lifestyle is dictated by a common feature that it lacks, and whose stunning allure has made it a target of our own desires, pushing it right to the edge of extinction. Really, the future of these incredible orchids is in our hands now. Their survival depends on us protecting their fragile habitats and at the same time supporting legal, sustainable cultivation to take the pressure off those wild populations. They are true masters of deception, but their survival can't be an illusion.